Hey, episode 86 of the Nashville Artist Podcast is now out, featuring the incredible Morgan Blanton. Morgan is an optimistic fashionista, stylist, and lover of all things Marvel. In this episode, you'll learn Morgan's methods for making an outfit interesting. She shares important lessons for navigating the Nashville scene, like not being too trusting and forgiving. Morgan also discusses one of the biggest fashion mistakes, judging others for what they wear. Find out who her favorite Marvel superhero is. Some of Morgan's favorite vintage shops in the area include HGH, Backslide, Black Shag, and Anaconda Vintage. The podcast also delves into Morgan's diverse musical influences, ranging from Deftones, The Smashing Pumpkins, and Cream to Stevie Wonder, Beach House, MF Doom, Radiohead, Alice in Chains, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and King Crimson. Enjoy the podcast episode. So what have you been up to today?
So today, I actually was running a bit late earlier because I have this fashion show to go to later today, and one of my friends mistakenly took this garment that I needed, and so I had to track her down. She stayed over last night, and then she left earlier this morning before I had to be over here. And I had to call her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't find this. Did you accidentally grab this? And she was like, oh my gosh, I think I did. And so I had to track her down, go and get it from her, and then I headed over here.
Nice.
So, not too much of a busy morning.
Yeah, that's nice. You said you live close to Centennial Park?
Yeah, actually, like right next to Centennial.
Really?
I sometimes run over there because
is that like an apartment or a house?
It's an apartment. Yeah,
nice.
I've been wanting to get a house, but if I do, it'd be in East.
Yeah.
And they're always so expensive over
here. Yeah.
Oh.
It is a pretty penny, but you can walk everywhere.
I know, and I feel like this is where everyone that I socialize with lives. Like, all of my good friends live over here or are moving over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love being here. I've been in this house for 5 years.
Oh my goodness. 5 years that's a good time.
Yeah, I really like this neighborhood. This has been a lot of fun.
I know, this is a good spot. It's not too far from everything.
No, have you been down the street to Little Hollywood?
Little Hollywood? I don't think so. What is that?
Basically, it's a neighborhood where instead of tearing down one house and building two tall and skinnies, they tear down like 2 or 3 houses and build one house.
Oh, dang.
So it's like the compound, like Hollywood Hills kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Maybe after here, I would check that out or drive by it.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
I'll do a little drive around.
Yeah. Well, we'll get started here. Hey everyone, welcome to the Nashville Artist. I'm Jordan, and today Morgan Blanton is here. Thank you for coming over and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
So excited.
So where are you from?
I'm from Florida.
Okay.
I'm actually from Lakeland, Florida. I don't like to say that very much because Lakeland's kind of like boring and there's not a lot going on over there. But I've lived in a couple different parts of Florida growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any siblings?
I have plenty of siblings. I've got copious amounts. Would you like me to go down the list of them?
Sure.
So I have an older sister who's 30, a younger almost stepsister, who is about to be 19 next month. Well, June, actually. A younger stepbrother who is, oh my goodness, about to be 16, I believe. And then a younger half-sister who is 9. So, just a lot. I'm scared. I'm like, did I forget one? I'm like looking through my brain. Okay, yes, I think that's all of them.
Awesome. Are they also into like fashion, art, or music?
My sister is definitely a big fashion person. Just like from looking at her, you can tell she has great style. She's more into doing a different route in her career, which I definitely think that she could have succeeded in the fashion world, but I don't think that's where she was wanting to go. But she's a lot of like where I draw my inspiration from, especially when I was younger.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's older than you?
Yeah, she's the 30-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. What is her name?
Alex.
Alex. What are your siblings' names?
Alex, from the top, it's Alex, Haley, Lane, and Lena.
And you're the second oldest?
Yes.
Nice. What about your parents? Are they into art and fashion or music?
So my mom definitely is more of like a painter. I know she doesn't paint that much anymore, but I remember whenever I was like really young, she had like so many paintings around the house, and her work was really beautiful. I don't know why she ever stopped doing that. Like, and I actually got into painting a lot because of that. And I started working with like the same mediums that she used, and it's a great little hobby. I don't know why she doesn't do it anymore, but yeah, my dad, I wouldn't say he's too much of a creative person. He's just a happy-go-lucky, happy to be here kind of guy.
Yeah, what does he do?
Mans the house.
Oh.
He has a lot to take care of in the sense that he's always stressed out for some reason, but he's taking care of all of us kids and all of his fiance too, and she's just wonderful. They're so sweet together.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What are your parents' names?
Steve, and my mom is Vicky or Victoria, and then my dad's fiance's name is Kelly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
My parents are divorced since I was like 7.
I understand. So what were you into as a kid?
Oh goodness. As a kid, honestly, the only thing that I could think of, I was a triple T. I was a tiny tower of terror. I was a mess. Because my parents, and you know what's funny is my younger sibling, the youngest one, the 9-year-old, is just like me. She's crazy, and she will destroy everything. And I was the same way. I would write on pillows and TVs with Sharpie, and then I'd throw it all in the toilet. And that's just something I remember. Like, my parents will not fail to remind me of that all the time.
Throw it all in the toilet?
Yeah, I don't know.
The TV?
No, like the pillows and the Sharpies, the markers.
Wow.
The TV, if I could fit it in there, I'm sure it would have gone. But as a kid, honestly, probably playing a lot of like Wii and Guitar Hero with my sister and my dad whenever I got the chance.
Wii and Guitar Hero?
Wii and Guitar Hero, yeah.
Wii and Guitar Hero,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah, I love me some Guitar Hero.
What are your favorite songs to play on Guitar Hero?
I really liked No Sleep Till Brooklyn by the Beastie Boys. The Joker by the Steve Miller Band. And One Way or Another by Blondie. Those were my top 3 that I can remember from playing, and it's so funny. Very random.
That's awesome. So what first got you into fashion and art?
Well, I've always been like a creative person. Like, even when I was younger, I wanted to be like coloring. I wanted to be making something, if it was like out of nature, if it was out of like random scraps. We would always do like little crafts and things during the different seasons. Like Halloween, we do little arts and crafts. Christmas, we do little arts and crafts, and I loved that. That was like my thing. And so as I got older, it just blossomed into like hobbies. So I took up painting, I took up drawing. I've always loved drawing and sketching and trying out like charcoal mediums. And was I great at it? No. But was it fun and something to do? Yes. I loved exploring new things. And I originally got into fashion, I would say, my end of freshman year of college, I believe, because I was originally an art history major when I came to college. And I sat in that first class, and I tell this story to everyone, but I sat in that first class. It was Art History 1, like the first class that you take when you get there. And she put a picture of the Coliseum on the board. Mind you, I'm a freshman in college. This is my first class. I barely know anyone. I'm in a new environment. She puts a Coliseum up on the board, and she asks, okay, what is this a picture of? And I'm like, cool, it's a picture of a Coliseum. Like, we're probably in Greece. I don't know. And then a bunch of people start raising their hands, and they're like, oh, well, you can tell from the columns on the Colosseum, it's an Ionic build from this century and this. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in the wrong place. This is not good. And I quickly found out that art history was just not for me. I was like, this is too much. I'm getting very overwhelmed. And though I do love art and I can appreciate it, I don't think that what I was wanting to do with it was what was best for me. And so I met this one girl, Chloe, who was in the fashion program, and she was like, okay, well, if you didn't like art, you seem like a creative person, you have cool style, like, you should see about going into the fashion program. And I was like, God, I don't know if I can go into fashion design. Like, that seems like really scary and intense to be designing my own clothes. Oh my God. And she was like, well, there's fashion merchandising. And I was like, okay, I guess that seems less intense. So I went into fashion merchandising, and I remember being so upset because the first class we had to download Excel onto our computer, and that made me have to delete The Sims to free up storage. And I was so upset. I was like, dang it, I just bought The Sims and now I can't even play it. But later on, I actually ended up switching to fashion design. I believe like last semester I switched to design, and I'm loving it so much more because merchandising was just, it's the business side of fashion, and I actually do want to be on the creative side of fashion. I think I need to be creating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So were there any like initial like they've got really cool looking clothes, I want to be like them?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
artists or certain early influences.
like, oh, in the world, I thought you meant at the college, because that too is,
I guess both.
Incredible. Well, I mean, my mother and my sister are probably two of my earliest influences, I would say, because having two women in the house, you know, you're bound to have a bunch of fashion and clothing to play with. And my mom loved to buy the coolest designers that have blossomed into some of my like favorite designers. Like I just remember Alice and Olivia, Helmut Lang, and I would get like hand-me-downs from my mom from those designers. And she had such a knack for like the coolest things. Like she had basics, but she also had like standout pieces that were fun and exciting. And as a child, I was like, oh my gosh, I need that. And my sister the same way. Like she always adventured out in different like realms of the fashion world. She was always just wearing something interesting to look at, and I loved that about her. I don't know if I can think of any worldly influences off the top of my head.
Celebrities that you thought looked cool or dressed well?
Well, God, from my time, that'd have to be like the camp rock era, and that definitely was not
camp rock era.
Camp rock, like growing up, that was like the fashion that you'd see, like the 2000s fashion.
Oh yeah.
I am not a fan of that, unfortunately. Like the dresses over the jeans. That's coming back too.
Sure. I mean, every 20 years, it's always what's like 20 years ago is what comes back.
Yeah, some things are better left in the past, though. I feel like
all the gaudy crosses you see with the silver and the white, like you'd see like the trailer trash kind of stuff you'd find in gas stations. That aesthetic is coming back into fashion.
No, it's definitely a part of fashion, like the nicheness of it, like I don't even know I don't want to say the word chuggy, but that's the word that most people use to describe that kind of fashion. Chuggy. It's like kind of distasteful. Gaudy, yeah.
Gauche.
Things that most people wouldn't cling to wearing, but are wearing for God knows what reasons. I mean, I think if you like what you're wearing, if you think you look cool and you think it's art, wear it.
Right.
Because who cares? I mean, life's too short to wear boring clothes.
Right. Got to be some sort of character.
I agree. People don't experiment enough with it.
Right. How did you start out getting into fashion and stuff? Did you do it like at school or?
Yeah, I mean, as a fashion merchandising major, you get a little bit of a taste of a design major. So you start out in classes like clothing construction, and you get to learn how to sew in those like beginner classes, which is really great. And you're sewing like a couple different garments. You're sewing a shirt, you're sewing a skirt, and either pants or like a jumpsuit, which is really cool. So that kind of started me out a little bit, and I kind of just took a semester off. And I've been like going, I wouldn't say, I mean, at my own speed. I've been going at my own speed. So I then switched to design, and I've been taking a lot more of like illustration, flat pattern. And so you get more into it. And then on the outside, I meet people that I want to work with, and it's just all around you. Like, whenever I first got into styling, I remember that I was trying to think of, okay, what can I do with a fashion degree? What do I want to do? I don't know if I want to be a full-fledged designer because that seems very intense and scary. But like, what can I start out as? And so I was thinking, oh, what, like, I love styling people, and everyone always compliments me on how like I style them. And one of my younger sisters actually told me, like, like, you're the reason that I found my style, right? You helped me like find what I like to wear. I was like, oh my gosh, wait, that's so sweet. And I've had a couple people tell me that. So I was like, well, shoot, why am I not styling? So I started like doing little photo shoots with my friends that live in the area, putting them in my own clothes, just taking them to random locations using my film camera, using my phone camera, just getting stuff to start building my portfolio, because that is the most important. You want to have something for people that you're going to be working with in the future to look at. So I started building that portfolio little by little, just random little photo shoots. And then I remember I had like this one friend that was friends with another friend, like we had mutuals, and she was she was a photographer, and she was photographing one of my friends that was releasing music. I think it was just for fun though, just to get stuff for her portfolio. And she was like, do you want to style this? And I was like, absolutely, I would love to style this. And this was kind of one of my first like photo shoot styling for her. And it was a really great time. Got some really cool photos to put on my Instagram page. That's my portfolio. And then like after that, I had my first bigger deal come up, with one of my actually good friends now, Noah Floresh. I met him whenever I was out. He was talking to like some of my friends, and I was kind of in my own world, and I'm just chit-chatting with like 4 different people. And we start chit-chatting, and I'm chit-chatting with his other friend, Joey, which is his manager. And they were, of course, being friendly and asking like, oh, what do you do? Like, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, oh, I'm a fashion stylist, because this was the first time that I was introducing myself to people as a fashion stylist. Before, I was like, oh, I'm in school for fashion. But I was like, you have to fake it till you make it. So I was like, oh, I'm a fashion stylist. And he was like, oh, wait, that's awesome. We've been looking for a fashion stylist. I was like, oh, okay, that's awesome. And it's something like just like clicked in me. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is serious. We have to like hone in on this. And he was like, yeah, no, Noah's a musician. I was like, that's awesome. And he was like, let me get your Instagram and we can connect and maybe set up a meeting later on. And so I was like, okay, this is awesome, but they're probably going to follow me, and then I'm never going to hear from them again. Like, it's not going to happen. And then the next morning I wake up and I have a DM from Joey and he's like, hey, let's set up a meeting. And I was like, awesome, this is really cool. And that is kind of like, that's the beginning of how that whole thing became. There's more to the story, but I don't know if you want to get into all of it. It's a really cool experience.
Awesome.
First experience.
Why would you say you're drawn to fashion and art?
Drawn to fashion and art? I'm not too sure. I love color. I love just looking at cool things. It's just a really fun part of life, being a creative. It prolongs like thought and it makes you think. That's like a really good part about fashion and art, is that it makes you think. Like, you have to think about, okay, does this look good with that? How can I make this more interesting? Art, sometimes I love getting different perspectives from art, because you can get your own perspective and then you can speak to someone about that piece of art or clothing and they'll have a completely different perspective. And it could be optimistic, it could be pessimistic, but I feel like that's just a part of learning and a part of living. And I want to consume knowledge in all things that I can. And that's probably one of the main reasons, I would say, off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's a good way to use color.
Yeah.
So you can wear it, you can lay it out, you can draw it up.
Mm-hmm. And color does, one thing about color too, we learn this a lot in fashion classes, is that color has a impact on like emotion. Yeah. And that's like a good point whenever you're making presentations. It's like whatever color you're going to be using throughout your presentation is the emotion that someone is going to be feeling throughout it. Like if you're using like yellow, it's more like a bright, happy color. It's like very like warm. That's why they're like one of the warm tones. But if you're using like a lot more of like blues, like it's kind of more like a pensive or like a sad like type of, it just depends on what direction that you're going in whenever you're wanting to use color. And I think that's really cool about how you can move someone's head in a certain direction and sway their feelings with color.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Wes Anderson movies?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I don't know if I've seen too many, but
there's a lot of yellow. It's a lot of bright
yellow.
Like
can you name like one of them?
Darjeeling Limited or Bottle Rocket or
okay.
Life Aquatic or.
I think I've seen like, I don't believe that I've seen too many of the movies, but I have like
seen kind of the aesthetic.
Seen clips and the aesthetic. Yeah, very cool. I love the use of colors in film too. I actually have a class next semester that's the film experience. Oh, nice. So I'm very excited for what that is going to entail, because I have absolutely no idea.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be really cool. So how do you develop your artistic skills? Do you have routines for learning your fashion, or
for learning my fashion,
or like developing
skill? Well, since most of my classes are like hands-on, I'm in the studio like so much, and we have like projects back to back. Like in my illustration class, illustration's a good part of fashion as well. That's like a whole separate job that you could have if you're wanting to get in fashion. Like that's a whole nother. Someone is calling me, I think. Let me just do that. But that's a whole different thing. Like I should have thought about that before. Like if I didn't go into styling, like illustration would have been another great route, because illustration is awesome and so much fun. But whenever you're taking those classes, you're working on it in class for like 3 hours, because it's like a studio class. And then based on what project you have, you're going home and you're working on those projects. And exposure therapy is just like a good way to think about it. Like if you think that you're not a good artist or you're not a good drawer or you can't get the croquis down for making illustrations, you'll be practicing. like you'll have to for your projects because they're due so close together. So you'll be getting that exposure. Like one of my first drills in my first illustration class, he put an image up on the board. One of my favorite professors. He's so sweet. He put an image up on the board and he was like, all right, we're going to be doing drills where you have to draw what's on this board in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds. And I wanted to cry because that is a lot. Like, I did not think my fashion drawing skills were that great, but looking back at those pictures of those drawings from the first class I had and looking at what I've done now, it's just incredible how your own style develops. And your teachers can show you different tricks and tips on how to make a garment like flow off the body and look like it's real and not just like flat. Designing faces and coming up with like little things that make your faces different than what other people use in their illustrations. In my sewing classes, since it's also very hands-on, you're wanting to get your projects done, obviously, but you have like very little time in between like designing the pattern and then going and taking it to sew it. So you're like, okay, I don't have time to focus on the fact that this stitch is a little bit crooked. I just have to keep going. So you learn how to do it properly and quicker and efficiency. That's like what my teachers have taught me. They're like, okay, you need to be more efficient. It's not, in these classes, it's not about like having things be perfect. It's about efficiency and being able to get things done on time. And I've been taking that more into account, and I've been able to really like get better at developing my skill and not even knowing it because I'm just trying to get the things done that I'm assigned.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of that at home too.
Keep it going on to the next. Don't dwell too long on one thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't be, because most of the time you're looking at like a little thing and it's really not as big of a deal as you think it is. Just like you just need to look at the whole big picture. And that was hard for me. And it still is a struggle of mine, but I'm working towards it.
Nice. Do you have a favorite garment that you've created, or what type of garment you really like to work on or make?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have these pair of pants that I made that are really cool. And I just remember being really excited about making them because it was one of the first garments that I made, and they're like in the style of like the business pants. And it was not a long process, but it took me a minute to get them like fitted properly and all of those things. So once they were created, like once I put on the hemline and like hemmed the bottoms, and I just finished up all the little tiny things and I put them on, I like just started like hopping around because I was so excited. I was like, wow, this looks like an actual piece that I would see in a store.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So I think that I'm just because it was one of my first like pieces, it made me really excited, and it's one of my favorites for that reason.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have what are some of your fashion stylists of all time favorite?
Fashion stylists.
Or even artists. I guess cross genres of anything.
Yeah. Goodness, that's hard to think off the top of my head. I would say I really like the designer Carl Kani. I actually had to do a presentation on him recently, which is I'm really thankful for because it showed me like a lot of the things that I didn't know about him and about the fashion world, and he's a great designer. He was originally known for making like the baggy jeans trend in the market in the 90s, I believe, like the beginning of the 90s. Because in the 1980s, a lot of what they were wearing are like these fitted, tight, skinny jeans. And in the 90s, hip hop became like huge. And so a lot of people were wanting to, I know it's like a lot of people were wanting to dance and be free more, and like pop and lock was like popping and locking was a big style of dance around that time. And so Carl Connie, he I remember reading about how his father was going to a tailor to get custom made garments, and so he started going there. All of his friends started noticing that, and he started then to make garments for his friends. And then he saw how a lot of people were wanting their pants to fit bigger so that they had more like style and comfort. Like that was like the style that was coming about. So he started doing that for his friends, and saw that like gap in the market and was trying to close it. And the coolest thing about this story is the fact that this is where the sagging pants trend came along, because a lot of people will assume that it came from in prison.
Right.
That's what a lot of people read about, and that it's from prison and all that and such. But it's actually from dancing, like in New York. They were wanting to have their pants like 2 to 3 sizes bigger than what they were normally buying, and that's when their pants started sagging. And a lot of people would sew their pants to their boxers so that it wouldn't sag too much. And some people would wear like oversized t-shirts to cover it, like hence the oversized t-shirt trend like in the 90s. But then it became a style trend for people to want to show off their boxers and how it matches the rest of their outfit, so that became a style trend. And the fun fact about that is Calvin Klein was actually about to go into bankruptcy around this time. And he saw that a lot of people were sagging their pants and showing off their boxers, and it became a style trend. And he saw that, and that's when he put his like name. He became known for the name brand boxers, and that's how he like saved his whole company, which is crazy. And Connie also features some underwear that has the name on that as well. But he's mostly known for this hooded jacket, or this hoodie, that has his logo across the front, and a lot of different artists are seen like wearing it. And he has a lot of different endorsements with different artists, which is really cool. And he's still doing great things to like spread. He's more of like a Black influencer at this point in time too, an advocate for them as well, which I thought was also really important. But yeah, like I could go into so much about him. He's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
What inspires your personal style?
My personal style is kind of all over the place. I don't know if I have much inspiration for it. I kind of just like experimenting with different things, different shapes. There's this saying that if a garment, like if an outfit is not interesting in color, it has to be interesting in shape. If it's not interesting in shape, it has to be interesting in color. And then there's another one, but I don't know if it off the top of my head, but basically it's cool trying to figure out how to make an outfit interesting and what you can do and take away and what you can add. But I will wear so many different styled outfits. Like someday I look like a misfit little grunge teen boy, and then other days I look like a businesswoman that's also like kind of just like I don't even know how you describe this. What do you think? What kind of style would you think this would be?
Yeah, I would say business, fashion, professional, consultant.
Yeah.
One coming in and
Yeah.
keeping it style or fashion stylist, but not over the top.
Yeah. Kind of like a more modest approach.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, it just depends on where I'm going, honestly. That's why it's so important. Like, girls are always asking their friends, like, oh, where are we going? What are we doing? What are you wearing? And I always do that to my friends, and I feel so bad. They probably get so annoyed of me. But I'm like, I need to know these things because that'll determine exactly what I'm going to wear, you know? And there's like, I don't know. That's like a fun part about traveling too. And that's why my family thinks I take so long packing when we're traveling, because I'm like, no, I need to look into every single detail of this trip, because I need to know, like, if we're going past this sculpture, I'm going to want to wear this dress because I think it'll look nice compared next to it, like if I want a picture next to it. Or this specific artwork, like you don't want to take too much away, like if we're visiting a museum, you don't want to take too much away from the artwork, so you want to wear something simplistic but like modest and like has clean lines, it just depends on where I'm going.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most important things to remember when styling someone?
In styling someone, it's that it's okay to experiment with different things. Not everything is going to work all the time, and that is how you learn. That's also like being human. Like, you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna see that things aren't gonna work, but at least you like tried it. And each person that you're styling is different, and you just go into it like a blank canvas. Like, depending on what the shoot is that you're styling for, the music video, or in general, just try to get creative direction. I like to look at what theme I'm going for. If I'm styling for like a music video or a photo shoot or something of that sort, there's usually like okay, we're going for this theme, and so I'll create a mood board, or I'll have the person that I'm like working with, like a photographer, create a mood board, and that'll kind of help me get direction on the silhouette that we want, the color scheme that we want, because of course you're going to want a certain color, like I talked about before. You're going to want a certain like color to match the theme that we're going with. Like a photo shoot that I did before was circumvented around Valentine's Day, in the Skims photo shoot, and I was like, okay, reds, pinks, like we're doing love. We have to have these colors in here, and then a little bit of like black and lace because it's like more intimate. So definitely just have like a good understanding of like what we're going for when you're styling them, just like where you want to take them. Pay attention to like what colors look best on them for sure, and how things fit. Ask them like what they like. It's good to ask questions about who you're styling to. Like, you ask them like, okay, do you like show them examples? Like, do you like the way that these pants fit? Do you like the way that this top flows? Do you like the colors of this? Do you like the buttons? Like, just give them a lot to like go into detail about asking questions, so that they have like good ways to answer and can give you a lot to work with. But it's really just all about like testing out and seeing what works and being like, okay, that didn't work, let's try this. So yeah.
Nice.
Trial and error.
What are some of the biggest fashion mistakes you see people make?
Fashion mistakes? Oh goodness. I think the biggest fashion mistake is judging others for what they wear and creating saying things that, like, I did it earlier, and I'm trying to do better at like not shutting things down, because art is about expression, and art is about trying things and just expressing yourself through. So I see a lot of people just saying, oh, well, a lot of people are wearing these shoes, I can't wear that. Or since this is trendy, like, I don't want to be sticking up with the trend. That's another thing too. Like, trends are moving so fast paced that it's hard to keep up with, and that's creating like fast fashion, which is not good for the environment, not good for people, not good for like long lasting quality clothes that we used to see so much of. Like, whenever I was growing up, my mom had so many staples in her closet that I have still to this day. Her shoes are passed down to me. Her pants passed down to me. And they will last me such a long time because the textiles and the fabric that they're made out of are good quality. But now you see in fashion stores, I don't want to name any in specific, but in a bunch of different stores, you'll see if you check the content fiber, like if you check the textiles that they're working with, like, oh, it's made out of 100% cotton, 100% polyester, you'll see that the trendy clothing items are going to be made out of 100% polyester, plastic. And that's not great for the environment, because they clearly know that this is not going to be trendy for much longer. Like, it's going to go, and we're not going to want to resell this again next year. So we can just make it out of a crappier material. So I don't know. The trends need to slow down. It's going way too fast, and we're not really like indulging in just what we like to wear. We're trying to become clones of everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I see.
What styles do you see mostly today right now that are like the bandwagon or
the bandwagon?
Fads?
Oh, well, not even to like, I'm not saying that these are good or bad. This is just like what's going on, like what I see trending. Of course, like red Sambas are big hit right now.
Red Sambas, the shoes?
Yeah, they're really cool.
Like the indoor soccer shoes? Adidas Sambas?
Yeah. Yes. I honestly like them. I know that a lot of people are like, okay, everyone has them, but I'm like, dang it, I didn't get a pair yet. The trend's not over until I get a pair, because they're so pretty. And I feel like they work well. I don't know. They're very colorful. They're red. They're bright red. So they will spice up an outfit. Like, it only takes like one little accessory to like spice up an outfit. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like other trends in specific that are like big right now. But I definitely see like a lot of maximalism, of course. Maximalism. Like, just like a bunch of stuff. Like, one of my friends that I saw last night, she has like a whole wrist full of watch bracelets, and then she has like 4 rings on each finger.
Wow.
It's like a lot.
Kind of and like it's cool. Billie Eilish kind of thing.
Yeah. No, but I think it's really cool. I think it's definitely like a cool style. I don't know how well I would be able to pull that off, because you know when you like have rings on your hands too long and you start feeling that you have rings on your fingers, I can't do that. I'm like, I need these off right now. Like, this bracelet is even like stressing me out a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I gotta like keep moving around. Exactly. But definitely just like over maximalism in the jewelry sense, in the way that you see layering, like, which is really cool. I really like seeing how people can create new figures and new shapes with like different clothing pieces and items and stacking them on top of each other. But those are like 2 of the main things that I see recently.
Nice.
I believe.
What would you say inspires your creativity?
Well, a lot of what inspires creativity is the world around us. Like, we talk about that a lot in school. I had this teacher actually that whenever we would come into class, the first thing that she would ask us is, what is going on in the world right now? Like, not just in the United States, what's going on in the world? Like, have y'all read the news? Have y'all watched the news? What's going on? And we would have to be sitting there like, okay, this is going on. And then together we would like list how that is impacting the fashion world. Because like, you know, things have an impact on a lower scale and a higher scale, and we just don't think about it. Such as like, if we're importing goods or textiles from a certain country and they're like having like a war go on with another country, we're not going to be able to like, it's going to be more difficult to get those goods imported. Like, that's one way that I think about it. But like, for me personally, I would say just maybe music is one of them. How music is, because I think of like cyberpop is becoming popular right now, and I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but that's what I think of whenever I think of like the specific genre. And it's like okay, how can I interpret this in clothing? Like, if I'm going to a show that has like cyberpop music, I need to dress for that. So it's like it's opening like a new world of like thinking for me of how I can be inspired by this genre of music and put something together that resembles it. And people will be like, okay, yeah, she looks like she belongs here.
Nice. What are some examples of cyberpop?
Cyberpop, oh my goodness. I don't know. God, I don't know. Like, all the artist names are so random. I can't like think of any off the top of my head. I'd have to like pull them up, but they're all very random. I actually have a friend that is working on some music right now. Let me see if I can find it. I have like a playlist. I don't know if this classifies as cyberpop technically, but I would say just off the top of my head, I would think of like whenever I'm thinking in the realm of that, I think of a lot of like techno-y kind of music or like LCD Sound System. There's this one song that I just can't even pronounce. I don't know what language that's in, but it's really cool. Some Artemis maybe is cool. Just like that is very much on the outskirts. Like, you know how there's like one genre and then like there's you can branch out this way or this way, and it's like those kind of relate to it. Because I don't know in specific exactly. I need to make a new playlist. I have like screenshots in my camera roll every time I like a song, and so I need to add them all into a playlist of the songs that I've been listening to recently that resemble cyberpop. But yeah.
What is some of your favorite bands or music?
Oh goodness, I'm so glad you asked. I like so much variety of music. I know that's cliche, and I know everyone wants to say that, and that's great. I think everyone should like wide varieties of music because music is wonderful. I can go all the way to say that I like Deftones is probably one of my favorite artists. I love rock. Rock is one of my top genres, and I grew up listening to rock and EDM. And so that is kind of like what I listen to mostly now. But I listen to Deftones, I listen to Smashing Pumpkins, I listen to like Stevie Wonder, Cream. Like it's like all across the board. I love Beach House. Um, I listen to a lot of MF Doom. MF Doom is freaking awesome, and I see you have like the poster on the board. I listen to a lot of Radiohead. I love Radiohead. The In Rainbows album is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
Alice in Chains, King Gizzard. It's just there's a lot. There's just a lot. It's
King Crimson.
King Crimson, yes,
Yeah,
I love.
I saw that you were listening to it in a perfect pair.
Yeah, yeah.
Or no.
It was the three.
Three of a perfect pair.
Three of a perfect pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a great album.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm a huge fan of Bill Bruford, the drummer for King Crimson, because they're gonna come to.
Yeah, you said that.
I'm gonna see him play with Danny Carey.
That's so cool.
Of Tool.
That's exciting.
Playing with King
I would be
Crimson.
really excited for that. You know, crazily enough, it's not that crazy, but I didn't listen to King Crimson until like I went to this vintage market and I saw the album and I was like, maybe I'll pick up this album and just check out who this is. And then I started listening to him a lot more and I was like, okay, I really like this artist. But I'll sometimes do that. If I don't know an artist and I'm like looking at records, I'll just pick up a random one and see if I like them or not. And if I mean, I haven't had one that I haven't liked yet because I don't know. The more you listen to a song, the more you're gonna like understand where they're coming from making it. So sometimes you gotta give it a couple different listens.
Nice. Okay. How would you best describe the type of artist you are?
Best type of artist I am. Mm. That's a good question. Optimistic, probably. Because I'm an optimistic person in general, and that's what I like to think about when I'm creating art too. Obviously, like whenever I was saying before, you see things how they look on a person. Even if you're styling yourself, like you see how it looks, and if it doesn't work, you try something else. Like that's not. I don't think there's a bad way to look at fashion. Like, because if something doesn't look good on you, that's completely okay. Like, there's just things that are going to accentuate your figure better than others. And that is completely fine. Like, fashion is subjective to the person. Like, if you think it looks good on you, then wear it. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Like, you should feel comfortable. That's what I tell most of the people that I work with, too. I'm like, they're like, but I feel like my outfit doesn't look that great. Like, I need help. I'm like, but are you like, do you, like, if you don't feel confident in it, like, let's fix that. But, like, has someone told you that makes you feel that way? Or are you, like, feeling that way from external purposes? Like, you just need to feel confident in what you're wearing. So if you like this outfit, then you just need to, like, not worry about, like, anybody else. Because it really does not matter. Like, these things aren't going to matter in 5 years, 10 years. Like,
The grand scheme of
the
things.
grand scheme of things. Yeah, no. Life is too short to be so worried about all those things. But that's what I mean. Like, I'm optimistic. Like, I'm just like, I'm going with the flow of things. I'm trying new things. I'm experimenting. I'm young and just having fun with being alive and being able to create and being able to inspire, hopefully. Yeah.
Awesome. What would you say your strengths and weaknesses as an artist are?
Oh gosh. Definitely being a perfectionist for one. Because I'll keep coming back to something and being like, does this look proper? Do I need to redo this completely? What could I have done better? And that's great to think about, like how I could have done better in the future, and so I can do it better in the future. But I dawdle too much on it. I'm like, okay, it looks good. It's fine. It communicates what I'm trying to communicate. That is exactly what I needed to do. So we just need to move on. So that's probably one of my biggest weaknesses. One of my biggest strengths is that um, as a stylist, or yeah, as a stylist, I'm guessing, um, is that I'm a social person. I will, like, that is how I get most of my work. Is I go and I meet new people and I make new friends. And in Nashville, everybody knows everyone. And so you need to be kind to everybody that you meet wherever you go. Obviously, for normal purposes of like, okay, you don't know what this person's going through, but you never know who you're talking to that is friends with another person. So you just like, I love being a social person, and that's literally how I got my first big fashion styling gig. It's just making friends and seeing what their abouts are. And that'll lead you to just so many new opportunities. And if it's not an opportunity in fashion or styling, like you made a new friend. Like there's no lose like to it. Like it's a win-win situation. You either get a cool opportunity or you get a cool new friend. Like, no.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, how long have you been in Nashville?
I've been in Nashville for 3 years now.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And what initially brought you here?
Do what now?
What initially brought you here?
Belmont, actually, yeah. Yeah, but I think I might stay a little longer. I like it over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say something you've learned living here?
Um, Well, I kind of was growing up still when I was moving here because I moved here when I was 18-ish, I believe. 18, yeah, I think around that age. So I'm still like becoming an adult, I would say. But it's definitely, one thing is not to be so easily trusting and easily forgiving, because a lot of people will take advantage of that. And I know that's all over the place, but there's just, I feel like, a lot of people that get wrapped into a false sense of reality here, and that is projected onto the people that they are around. And I came into here a very naive young adult, thinking that the world is my oyster, which it is. It is very much so my oyster. But thinking that people are good innately and that they are innocent until proven guilty. No, no, they will quickly take advantage of that. Especially like with how you treat people. Like, I'm just a giving person. I'm a very people pleaser type of person. And a lot of people will see that and they'll kind of twist your arm in a way. And so I've been trying to teach myself that, okay, yes, it's great, it's good to be kind to other people, but you do not need to go to Mars and back for them. It's okay to give as much as you want or as you can without overextending yourself.
Right. So you've understood, like, only reveal so much.
Yeah, and I'm so bad at that. I'm not a mysterious person at all. I just do this. Yeah.
I understand. So, do you have like a favorite venue to see shows here?
Ooh, that's a good question. I believe I really like Brooklyn Bowl. Brooklyn Bowl is a cool venue. There's a lot of great artists that perform there. A lot of great shows that go on. I'm trying to think. I feel like I have some more. I really like the Basement East as well. And I love Marathon Music Works. Those are probably some of my favorites that I frequent a good bunch because a lot of my favorite artists always play like at those venues.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about favorite food around here? Do you have any favorite restaurants?
Yes, I love Thai food.
Oh yeah.
So on the more expensive side, we have Eastern Peak, but phenomenal food, phenomenal. And then we have Hawkers, which is more of like Asian street style, but it's so dang good. Oh my gosh. Smiling Elephant, I haven't actually been to, but I've had a lot of my friends that love Thai food say it's great. And then another type of food is 210 Jack.
Oh yeah.
So good. Those are probably like some of my favorite restaurants. Oh, and for breakfast or brunch, Snooze.
Oh, okay.
They got some real good
I
food.
still haven't gone there yet.
Their pork belly eggs Benedict is like fire.
Wow.
It's so good. I want that so bad now.
Nice. What about like favorite shops or like style, like fashion places you like to shop, or thrift stores or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, I do have a good bunch of. So I don't really go to a lot of the retailers over here, just because of like the fast fashion, all of that and such, and I just don't. I don't know. Some of the fashion that's going on at major retail stores is kind of like copycatting of a lot of different others. But I go to thrift stores a lot, and I go to HGH Vintage. I really love Backslide Vintage as well. They're great. Those are kind of like a little bit more expensive, but not too crazy. If you want like expensive, I would say Black Shag Vintage. They have the coolest stuff, but it's just gonna cost you. And they also have really cool markets on the weekends. A lot of my friends actually put their stuff out there, but what's great about Nashville is on the weekend, if you don't have something to do during the day, you go to 21st Ave, you go to 12 South, or you go to Black Shag Vintage, And there will be like a bunch of vendors set up where you can just sort through and look at different clothing pieces, and it's great. So those are some of my favorite places to go. I also really love Anaconda Vintage. The people there are so sweet. And Music City Vintage. God, I have a lot.
Awesome. So, what is some advice you would give to someone who's going to move here and do art?
You just gotta put one foot in front of the other, and you got to jump in, because life is not easy, and we're gonna make mistakes, and that's how you learn, you know? I feel like you have to make mistakes over here in order to learn, because there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of different people. There's a lot of different opportunities. And you just got to be along for the ride, honestly. Just be optimistic about it. Be excited about life and enjoy it, and meet people, make friends, experience things. Try to experience all that you can.
Cool.
I would say.
Awesome. Reflecting back on when you first started as an artist, what is one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome? How did you get through it?
Biggest challenges? Thinking that I'm not capable of something, definitely. Because I obviously, like, starting out, it's a lot of, can I do this? Am I going to be able to do this for this person? And that is going to be your biggest setback, is doubting yourself. You gotta just try and fail, and then try again and see like how you can do better. Um, it's just like a learning process, and whenever you doubt yourself, you're like closing yourself off to that learning process, and just automatically like giving yourself the thought that you can't do it. And so like I've just been trying to focus on doing the thing and not like contemplating and overthinking it too much.
Nice. Okay, cool. What would, from last year to this year, what would you say is your biggest personal growth?
From last year to this year. That is a good question. Gosh, a lot has happened in the year. I do not know. I haven't even thought about that for myself. Because where was I even at last year? Maybe like just rolling with the punches, because I constantly, well, everyone constantly has like an influx of different things changing in their life. And, you know, you grow out of certain friendships, you break up with people, you have something like a job not work out, and you go to a different place. And I think that before I would get very just set back and held back, I guess, yeah, by things that were going on in my life. And as you get older, like that's just like a part of life. Things are going to be changing constantly. And everything, my biggest thing, what I say a lot is everything happens for a reason, and all good things come with time. And that is probably the most like self-growth statements that I've like nailed into myself. It's because I actually believe that they're true. Like everything happens for a reason. And I tell my friends the same thing. Like whenever something bad happens to myself or them, I'm like, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. There was a reason that I was running late to this big interview that I was supposed to be doing, or I got into this accident. Like clearly I was not supposed to be on the road or doing this, or you know, there's everything happens for a reason. And then all good things come with time. People like to focus on the fact that, oh my goodness, like I haven't had this happen for me yet, or I haven't had this opportunity. I don't know how to get to this place. Just keep doing what you're doing, and everything will happen whenever it's supposed to happen. And depending on what religion or what you follow, like the universe or God, it has a way of setting things out for you, and you just need to trust in that. So
Nice.
yeah.
So how can people support you as an artist?
Support me in multiple ways. You can follow my fashion Instagram account because I post a lot of my work on there, whether it's projects or photo shoots. It's the Morgan Blanton. And then definitely just giving me opportunities. If there's any artists out there that need styling, which I know that there's plenty, and I just haven't met them yet. If there's anybody that needs just advice on what to wear, like any of that such, I would love to even just help out the community. So just by giving me opportunities, following me on the fashion account, those are doing me plenty of service at the moment.
Okay. Awesome. How do you like to consume media? Do you have like favorite YouTube videos you like to watch, or what do you?
I don't. I mean, I don't go on my phone too much. I try not to, because my attention span's already so bad. I don't think I could do more of like the TikTok. I try to limit myself to how much of that I consume. But I love Pinterest. I love seeing like what styles are all going on throughout Pinterest and how people are um, crafting new things, and it kind of like inspires me sometimes. I'm like, okay, that is a really cool idea. Maybe I can do that in a different way, or incorporate that in some way to what I'm wanting to wear. Um, and I also I like reading some.
Nice. What books do you like to read, or have you read?
I have read a couple different ones. Recently, I just read this book called The Midnight Library, which I really liked. Definitely an interesting book. Was not what I was thinking whenever I was getting into it. I also am reading, this is so random, but I'm reading a sign language book right now because I'm like trying to practice my sign language skills. But I like reading like random books. Like I have an art history book, I have a French book, I have an ASL book. And it just depends on what I'm feeling for the day because I like practicing different skills.
Yeah.
Because I also like traveling a lot, so I need to be able to like communicate with other people. And art's also part of that, communicating art and being able to. Since I, dropped my art history major, I want to know what they're talking about. I need to figure out exactly what I need to say so that I sound like I know what I'm talking about. And I watch some TV before bed. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite movies?
Oh, do I? I'm a big Marvel fan for one.
Oh wow.
I love Marvel.
What's your favorite Marvel movie?
God, I hate this question.
What's your favorite Marvel character?
Oh God. Okay, I really like King T'Challa from Black Panther. He's beautiful and a wonderful, like, that whole movie's awesome. Love Black Widow. Her movie's great. There's just so many. I love Wanda. Wanda's probably like the most powerful in the whole, like, out of all of them. And she's great. I also just love like the classic, of course, Captain America. Like the first movie was so good. Like they really killed it with that one.
Nice.
Yeah. But I watch like so many different movies. I also, one of my favorite movies is probably like Meet the Robinsons, and then
I'm not sure if I know that one.
Meet the Robinsons, the Disney movie.
Uh-huh.
It's a great movie. You need to watch that. It's good. It's really good. And then I also like the Kingsman movies. Those are pretty good. I like a lot of like fantasy movies and like spy movies. I think those are really cool. And then of course the rom-coms.
What spy movies do you like?
Like Kingsman. Have you seen Kingsman? Dude, you need to watch them.
Yeah.
I believe there's like 3 Kingsman movies. Samuel L. Jackson's in one of them, and he's so funny. I love him. But those are great movies. Like, I've seen them probably a bunch of different times.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely check them out. I love spy movies like Born Identity.
Oh, you'd love Kingsman.
James Bond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything we'd like to add that I might not have asked you about?
I do not know. You pretty much covered a lot of bases. I don't believe so.
Okay, here's the last question. What is something absurd you'll ever do?
Oh, gosh. Absurd. Gosh, that's a thinker. Oh, you're catching me off guard with these questions. I'm trying to think, because I know I do. Okay, well, this one's not that absurd. Okay, I have two, because both of them aren't that crazy, so together they'll be cool. One is I can burp on command really loudly. It's really fun. And then another absurd one is that whenever I play guitar for fun, just as like a little hobby, and my nails grow really fast. And so if I'm like wanting to play guitar and my nails are long, I will literally just rip them off.
No use for the fingernail clippers?
Nope.
Just like
that takes too much time. I'm like, all right, I already have my guitar in my lap.
First and then...
No, I can look at this. I can just do this.
Oh my god.
Look at that. I'll throw that away.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey.
I once had a man call it badass, so.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming over and doing this.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It was great.
Awesome.